Okay, so we're gonna do lab 3. This lab I had modified from before because when I test run this lab, it was a little different. So last year when they did this, they did it with the Wireshark, but this year we're gonna do this as a separate lab, and then we're gonna have a Wireshark lab separately down the line. So first thing, you are going to attach your USB external hard drive that you got from the front. You are going to connect it to your computer, and then you are going to copy CIS40A Windows 10 VM folder onto your desktop. That's all you need for the virtual machine. Now down the line, we're going to be using server virtual machines, so we'll do that. I think some of you have taken my class before. You've done virtual machine many times. So you asked me, why am I using Windows 10 when I can have Windows 10 outside? Well, we don't have administrators right on the system to configure a lot of things. So you need to have administrator right. And in the virtual environment, you are able to do that. You're able to modify IP addresses and things. On the school computer, you cannot. Okay, so to demo, right, I just attach my USB drive, go to this PC, double click, and then find my USB on the left. So yours might say Toshiba or Element. And then you just need to find CIS40A Win 10. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Win 10 VM and copy it. So I did that here, and that's the one that I copy onto your drive. So you can drag it or copy and right click, copy and paste it. And that's how you have it. I have it under also subfolder like this. Okay. So once you do that, it's gonna take a few minutes. You're gonna open up your Oracle VirtualBox. You can search Oracle or VirtualBox. So type VirtualBox onto your desktop Windows search bar. So if you type VirtualBox as one word, you will find the application. So click that. So I'm at step 3. I search for VirtualBox and I found the app. I click it and it opens like this. Now we have to add it to the playlist, right? Our virtual machine that we copy, I created it for you. So we just need to add it to our playlist on the application. So we are going to click the add button, which is in green. That's step 4. This message pop up, it is an RCCD based message. You just click the X to close. Don't worry about it because their virtual machine is defaulted to their main folder and it tells you don't have access to that. Just click X to close it because we're not using their folder. Then once you close that message, on the left-hand side, you're going to find your desktop. So scroll up and look for desktop. And then the folder that you copy, double click that. And then open its subfolder, the same name, double click it. And you should find a VBox Blue file. Select it and click open. So click add. When you see that message pop up, close that message by clicking the red X. Then browse to your desktop. Find the folder that you copy, open its subfolder, and find the VBox file and click open. Now you cannot have 2 of the same virtual machine name. It will not let you play. So we can only have 1 at a time. Okay? If you want to play another virtual machine, it has to be a different name. Understand? Any question? Okay. So once we have that on the playlist, if you want to change your settings, that's the time for you to do that, right? It doesn't need for you to do that right now, so we just click start. So you got to add it to the playlist here, and then we're going to click start, and it's going to boot. This is your login. And it says that, you know, for virtual execution, you can just click X to close. And on the right-hand side, if you want to get rid of this gray bar area, it just says that your keyboard and mouse will be auto-captured. If there's an error, it's going to show that on the right as well. Okay, so we can hold the X and make sure we have the full window, the blue X. So it should take a few seconds to boot. Anybody have problem with booting their VM, copying their VM? So the reason why I have you copy is you can modify a bunch of things on it, and then you want to repractice, you can copy it again the next time you come or when you come in for my office hour, right? You don't want to modify what's on the drive because, you know, other student might use it, that drive the next time. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and click the desktop here, and we're going to log in. So the login information is listed in step 7. CIS40A, exclamation point, and it gives you the desktop. Okay. I'm going to minimize this. So I'll leverage between the steps, right here, and then the configuration. Okay. So part A was to boot your virtual machine up. And there's several ways that we can open up Computer Management Console. Do you have to use Computer Management Console? No. You can access, you know, your network settings and all of that directly from Windows settings, but this is one way. There are many ways that someone can go into Windows configuration. If you go for Microsoft certification, they want you to know all the ways. Okay. But this is the most common way because I feel like Computer Management Console is going to give you a console for many other things that would be useful to your daily task as a network support technician or a systems technician, etc. So we can first, we're going to right click the start button, Windows start button, and we can go Computer Management Console. Of course, you can search for it, right? And there are other command execution that you can use. So right click Windows button, and we're going to go Computer Management Console, click it. So the console opens up, and by default, you can have task scheduler, event viewer. That's important for us to read the system logs, like what is failed and successful events in different area, or even security events. Shared folder, you can go in here to create users and group for that local system, not the network, for this computer. You can look at performance review. This is performance monitor for Microsoft. So it allows you to collect data for your system performance. I think I covered this in CIS25 if you had that class with me. And then also disk management console, like the partition section of your disk and what was formatted for your OS and what's not being used, unallocated partition. So your device manager is in here. Yes, you can use this through control panel or on its own by searching for it. So you can find your device manager here. Okay. Now, when you click on the device manager, we are going to look on the arrow. We're going to click on the arrow next to network adapter. So we're using device manager, and we're going to expand the network adapters because we want to see what was the configuration for our network adapter. It tells me that it is Intel Pro 1000 desktop adapter. This comes equipped with the virtual machine for VirtualBox with the operating system. Even though your physical host adapter is used for connection through NET, but it's not going to recognize your actual physical adapter through virtualization like this. So by default, it's going to say, you know, Intel-based adapter. This is good enough for the virtual machine to be able to utilize the adapter, the physical adapter, through network address translation to be able to submit for internet connection for your browser or other things. Any question? Okay, so I looked at the adapters. And you know, when you're doing this on the outside computer, let's say your computer has a wireless adapter, you would want to see that as a separate, right? Because we're on the virtual machine, we only see one. But on the Alienware, the system that we're using, you might see multiple adapter because it has multiple adapter, a wireless adapter, a physical Ethernet network interface card. Okay. So you are gonna right click it. And then you're gonna go to properties. Now, the properties is gonna give you access to these tabs like update driver, details, and advanced configuration. But we are going to click on the events tab. And this is gonna give you all the historical event up until the point that you're accessing it, what had happened to that adapter, when it was installed, right? When it was configured and so on. So how do I know when it was installed? It says that the device was installed September 18, 2023 at this time. When was the device configured? Right above it, you would see that. Did you need help? You okay? Okay. Okay. Anybody needs help with loading their VM? Okay, so when you look at the device, the actual network adapter, and if you go to the property sheet, which is I simply right click it and then go to properties, and then I can click on the event tab, and it tells me all the events that occurred for it, right? And then an important thing, we talked about this earlier, was to be able to look at the driver version. Sometimes you need to roll back, right? In case you update and it's not functioning as you think it should. Or sometimes this is where you would go to upgrade driver. You can also right click and choose update driver. So you can go to driver tab. Where am I at? Step 13. So once I'm on property sheet, I'm able to explore more about that particular device. And here's the driver tab. And what you can do is you can take a look at the option here. If I need to update driver, I click that button. I can also disable the device. Let's say that I have installed 2 and I want to disable 1. This is an option that I can do that through the operating system Windows. I can, through the software level, I can also uninstall the device or uninstall the driver. So it tells me the driver version, and this is a Microsoft generic driver. It tells you who's the provider and the digital signer. So when you use a legitimate software, there's always a digital signature for that software. And I just covered this with my 41D class the other day because we were talking about in the software development process for the enterprise, what should occur, right? To make sure that that software is legitimate. So it needs to be digitally signed. So you could see the digital signer for that software, which is Microsoft Windows. Then we go to the Advanced tab. And this is, earlier we talked about, oh, well, you know, there's simplex, there's duplex, and there's half duplex. And this is how you can control your flow and different things. So you would see the properties of transceiver and transfer speed and duplex property. You can also see VLAN and buffer options, right? So if you click on each one, it will tell you the value that's selected for it. And then, so let's say I want to do link speed and duplex, right? Remember we talked about how it's always default to auto, right? It auto negotiate. But if you need to set otherwise, there is that drop down option and you can select that. This is where you go. Is Advanced tab in the property of that network adapter. So I want you to take a capture of that. So one day when you need to look back to this and you're like, oh, this is where I go to look at it and configure it. And then we talked about jumbo, right? Jumbo frame earlier, jumbo packet, that's also there. And other moderation options. And you guys can do a snip. So in order to screenshot this and add it into my lab document that I had answered, I can use snip. So on your host computer, type snip. And this is where that you can snip a picture and paste it onto your document. Once snip is open, snip tools here, click new. And then I just drag it from left to right like this. Just hold down your left button and drag. And there's my picture. Then I can just add it to the next line. So press enter key and then control V as in Victor to paste. And so there you are. You have a picture and you can size it down so it fits onto one page like that. So you can use snip. And then when you're done, you can close it. But it should be on your host computer taskbar. Don't mix them up, right? The outside computer and the inside computer. Okay, so here's now my virtual machine. I can click cancel because I'm done looking at it. And I just finish 14 and 15. And now I can close the console. So I'm back to my virtual machine desktop. Now we're gonna do network adapter setting and addresses. So I want you to know how to do manual addresses and inputting things in, because that can be of importance down the line when we configure server. So there's several ways you can still go back to the property of the adapter. You can go through network and network settings to do this. So we are going to go ahead and inside the virtual machine, we're going to do step 16. We're going to search for settings. You can also right click Windows button and select settings, but here, type settings. In the case you ever forget the technique, we just open up settings. And in settings for 17, we're gonna, by default, it's gonna look like this. We're gonna click network and internet. It's kind of similar to control panel in the past, right? But it has group options a little different. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is we are going to, we're not going to use the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry. We're going to click on the Ethernet. This is what I need to fix. 18, click Ethernet. So click Ethernet on the left because you won't find Wi-Fi. Click Ethernet. So once you have clicked the Ethernet, it just says that there's no internet, right? If you click on it, it just tells you that. Let's go back. Click on change adapter option. And you can see that that's the first link right here. Right, click this link. You know that the settings menu changed in different version of the Windows 10 throughout, and then 11 is also slightly different. So change adapter options, click this for 18. And then take a screenshot of this. So when you get here, this is what you need to find to change your IP in its property. Not yet, we'll get there. And then you're gonna click on right click and choose property. So I modified this. Let me move this down so you can see. So what did I do for 18? Once I'm on the settings, so I'm here on settings. I click on network and internet. I click on Ethernet. And I click on change adapters options. And I get here, if you right click and choose properties, which is blocked by my caption, you get here, right? And here is where you are going to be able to change your IP. So if I need to change version 4 IP address, I click on it here and click properties. Okay. So this one has a static IP. You see that? This is why it doesn't have internet connection because it's static and it doesn't belong, it's not obtaining IP addresses from the DHCP, from our CCD, and so on. Now, if I wanted to obtain IP addresses automatically, I would select that here, right? Okay. So we need to find a MAC address, correct? Let me see. Okay. A better way, so let's say that I was here, right? And then I show you the properties. This is where you can find your IP address settings. It's property for version 4. You see that? Okay. So if anybody ever asks you, how do you set manual IP address or check to see if, you know, your gateway or your subnet mask, you just tell them in the adapter property in network configuration, such as network and control panel. There are several ways that you can do this. So I was here, and so if I close this, right? If I click at the top to go to network and internet, I'm in control panel now. You see that? Because setting is layered on top of control panel, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on view network status and task. And then click Ethernet. I should have written instruction through this control panel versus setting because it's so annoying that you can't find it. And then click details. And this is how you find it. So, easiest way to find your MAC address without typing a command, open up control panel, go to network and internet, Go to status and task, which is the second link there. Go to Ethernet, and I'll write down a step, and then click details. And this is where you're gonna find your MAC address, your IP address. So, oh, did it give you the MAC address? Oh yeah, it does. The physical address there. You see? Okay. So let me fix this.
Oh, I'm sorry, you want to have the network connection details or?
This,
Okay,
yeah, it has all the addresses.
that's the snake that you want. For
Yeah.
18, right?
Yeah, I'll rewrite 18 right now. Maybe 17 and 18. Okay, I'm rewriting 16, so we're gonna search for control panel. And then in control panel, we open that up and we're gonna click on network and internet. Applet. So in control, so 16, I rewrote it. You're gonna use control panel, it's better because it gives you more easier details. Network and internet, and then you're going to click on view network status and tasks. So then click Ethernet, then click details. Sorry, I changed the step. So open up control panel by searching for it for part C16. Then you're gonna click on network and internet. That should be like the second on the left. Click the applet. And then click the second link, which is in blue, view network status and task. And then you're gonna click Ethernet on the right side. And then click details. So you would see this, and it basically when you do IP config all, it gives you most of this information and more. IP config all gives you more, but it gives you the configuration of your network adapter. And where can I find the MAC address? That's the physical address under the description of your adapter, your network adapter. Take a screenshot of that for 18. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna look it up. So you can leave this open up your browser and type that in to see if it finds the OUI value. I think this is more effective on the non-virtual type of adapter, like your adapter for the Alienware system on the outside, but the practice so you can know where to find it. So you can go home and try this out.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting the Ethernet motion. Have it to me and trying to troubleshoot on the network. And it figures it out.
Yeah, sometimes.
I tried that, but it gave me some. Did you troubleshoot over here? Yeah, I just did that. I was getting the globe too instead of the little desktop icon.
Yeah, so it's probably the manual.
The actual
Network is on that, but I think
it's on.
Yeah,
It's
it
on
should be
there,
on.
so it should be fine.
Yeah, you can close it. I think it's the menu, I see the actual adapter. So let's see if it's properly. Close that up. It shows disconnected. So here. Or you can refresh it by doing, I think, configure space last. Sometimes just reboot too. Other people have any problems? It also is too, if we have a bunch of manual IP addresses that's conflicting, it also kicks the other one out. So that is sometimes the case. Okay, so once you find your physical address, look it up.
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah. Can we just do the snip of the IP config all and
Yeah,
just from
you
there?
can do that too. So if you can't find the details like this, Alex is like, I can't get access to my property from my Ethernet. Open up command prompt CMD, do IP lowercase IP config space / all, like that. And it should give you your physical address, right? And then the IP address. And you can screenshot this.
This page.
Most of the time we would use this anyways.
Yeah, the sharing server. Click on share.
Yeah, it shows his Ethernet is disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might look into your device manager. It might be like disabled or something.
Yeah.
Anybody need help or have questions? Okay, we're good? All right, so look up your adapter to see if there's information. You can also try on the outside system, right? Like if I want to run it for the host and I can check to see if Alienware adapter, so you can do CMD and then do IP. I think Get Mac used to work. Let me see if that still works. Sometimes they block it. So Get Mac gives you the actual MAC table for the computer, not just the IP, the MAC address. This is how we can see MAC addresses that are associated with connected system. You see how here media is connected. Remember how I talked about MAC table earlier or switch table, right? The computer also have its own table and it would have the device that are connected to it by the MAC address. But if you do IP config space / all, which doesn't, it should allow us to, right? I should see you gotta look at the right adapter though. So here's my Ethernet. Oh, there's the wireless one. I think it should be, yeah. This one is the Bluetooth. The VMware, we don't want that. VMware, we don't want that. The wireless LAN connection, that's disconnected. Wireless. So the Ethernet adapter, Ethernet 7 on the host computer, right? Your MAC address is that one. Okay. So you can play with it and you can search for the outside one to see what kind of adapter it is. Okay. Where was I? think I closed control panel. Let me open back control panel. Go back to Ethernet, view network status and tasks, Ethernet here, right? And if we click properties, that's gonna take us to here. Oh, yeah, I'm asking you guys about the wireless. I forgot that we switch it from the, back in the day, we used to be able to use the PC admin level, but not anymore.
So we're only able to do 20.
Yeah, we can skip 20. I will read it out. Okay, we're gonna do PowerShell, and it's important that you learn how to do this for all areas, IT or cybersecurity. So inside the virtual machine, we're gonna skip 20 and 21. We're gonna do 22 and onward. So inside your VM, you can close all the properties window. And then you're gonna search for PowerShell. Now PowerShell comes equipped with Windows 7 and onward. So your Windows 10 out of the box should have it. You can also install it on the earlier version of Windows 7 if it doesn't have it. So now we want to run it as admin, okay? So when you search for it, make sure that you select it run as admin. Otherwise, it's not going to allow you to do other things. You can get, so in PowerShell is C language based. It's written in C#. And most developer that writes in C knows how to use function get and set. When you're using get, you're obtaining information about that device. When you're using set, you're configuring or you're setting that device, right? You're giving it a name or you're modifying its information. So once I open up PowerShell, I want to run it as administrator. So click that. And then Windows Firewall says, hey, are you sure? Yes. Okay. So on the administrator side, it's going to show your path similar to command prompt. Let me see if I can make the pop-up a little bigger. So we can see, and you can change that by clicking the setting button, which is there. So we are going to type in this command, get net adapter, to see if, and it's important that you type as shown, right? If we type it incorrectly, it is picky. Space or no space make a difference. Okay. So we're gonna type in get, oops, sorry. I need to capture my mouse and keyboard. Get net adapter. And it's going to give you the color code. So when you see a bunch of red error, read the error, right? Likely that you might have typed it incorrectly, or something must have happened where you don't have the right option. Add it to next to the command. But get net adapter, it's just like how we looked at the adapter, right? Either from the device manager or from the settings or from control panel standpoint. Okay. And it tells me that there's an Ethernet adapter. This is the interface description, right? And it's up, the status. There is your internet configuration or the index for IF, which is for internet connection. And then the MAC address. So we can do it this way to be able to find the MAC address as well, right? And then earlier I had you look up the link speed, but it goes on further. But sometimes because of the format of our windows, we might be able to see all of the details. So in PowerShell, you have to tell it to display the information a certain way. So if I just want a general information description and the MAC address of my network interface card, I can just use get-net adapter in PowerShell. And PowerShell is different than command prompt, right? Commands are different. Okay. So when you look for Windows administration job, it's usually PowerShell comes up. Any question? Okay. No question? Anyone need help? Okay, so take a screenshot. Right. I don't know if I can see if you can display, but if you can't display the speed, that's okay. You don't have to answer the next question. Let me see if I font size it down, maybe. Oh no, that's just the way it's formatted. So if you're not able to see the speed, a screenshot of that is fine. And we can see it through the property of that device as well too. I think that you can change the column display for PowerShell. We'll practice some more. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to use the same command, but in PowerShell for command prompt. And we're going to type that in the whole shebang, okay? With the pipe and everything. This is the pipe. Okay, so in PowerShell, let me size this down so we can see it together. We're gonna do ipconfig space /all, like command prompt, space, and we're gonna do a shift, and your pipe is above the enter key. And then we're gonna do a find str space, and we're gonna do description physical. Make sure we close the quotation mark. So it's gonna list, right? We are gonna use the command ipconfig all, but ipconfig all gives you a lot of information. We're gonna do a find str. Basically, that's a filter, and we're gonna look for description physical filter after it execute the ipconfig all. So it filter out description and physical address, and it's giving me this information. So you can do a find str to filter out whatever that you put in the string or the quotation mark there. That's gonna be the filtering criteria. Okay. So the description and the adapter answer that question. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do wmix, and you see this again later. So next one after that, we're gonna do September 25. So WMIC, NIC, where physical adapter equal true, get MAC address, comma, name. You have to type as is. This is one line, okay? One line. One whole line. No space after comma. Oops. Okay, so we should get the MAC address and the name of the MAC or the physical or of the adapter, I'm sorry. So this is another way that we can find the MAC address and the adapter information. We're almost done. I kept it short this time because the assignment was really long. Okay? Because we're almost at the end anyways. And then earlier I wrote the instruction for the same thing here. So you can also find the information. So the whole purpose of this lab is to show you how you can access the configuration of your network interface card or your network adapter. You can do it through PowerShell. You can do it through command prompt. You can do it through, control panel or settings, and so on. Let me fix the setting part to be correct. So once you're done, right, you can answer the question, what step do you find most useful in acquiring system MAC address? And the answer might not be the same from one student to the next. In my opinion, for industry related type of requirement, you will likely use command prompt for most of your server system because it might not even have a desktop. PowerShell is truly critical in the case where, you can do everything in PowerShell, but you have to get used to PowerShell command along with command prompt commands. How are they different? Okay. So answer the questions and then see if you can do the control panel. So let's try settings. And then I can go to network and internet, Ethernet, change adapter options. Good night. Yeah, so you can still do the same thing. It still takes you through control panel. If you double click this, go to details. It's the same way as control panel. So whether you use settings or control panel, you're still gonna get to that part. So if I use settings, I just search for settings. And then I go to, so here's my setting home, network and internet. And then on the left, if you have Wi-Fi, it's gonna list wireless, right? It's okay if it shows the globe. You just click Ethernet, change adapter options, and you see this. If you just double click, you should be able to see details, right? If it is showing disconnected, you can try to see if you can check device manager and have it connected, or maybe something is disabling it. And then this is the same way as getting into control panel, network and internet network connections, and you double click Ethernet. Take a screenshot. So I'll rewrite that step. Let's take attendance. Bye. Okay, let's do attendance before we go. Let me stop recording. I got you, Brandon. Bye. See you.